Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Linda from lindaspapercraft.co.uk and you are joining me for week 1 of Coffee and Card November 2025, and this month I am looking at the traditional labels bundle. Gorgeous sentiment stamps with some lovely label dies, which I absolutely adore. So I use this for my Christmas kit this year. So what I've done is actually picked out a few of the cards from the Christmas kit, and where I use the snowflake papers, and we're going to use the Christmas traditions papers to make some more cards. Okay, so this is a nice tent fold card, and this is the colourway I did using the snowflake paper, and we're going to use some red, and instead of using the faceted snowflakes, we're going to be using the traditional sparkling sequins that go with the Christmas tradition suite. All of this is part of a tradition suite apart from this snowflake paper. Right, so loosely based on what I've already done, let's get started with card number 1. So in your kit you will have away. So we have got our usual Stampin' Up envelopes. So we've got a tent fold, A6 tent fold card. So that is 29.7 by 10.5, scored at 14.85 to give you this tent fold. I prefer a tent fold because I like my cards to stand up like that. So if you're doing a horizontal card, I prefer a tent fold. And then I've got some bits of designer series paper, some white paper. So instead of using white and embossing it like I did with this one, I'm actually going to use a piece of designer series paper with quite a subtle pattern. In fact, it is the same piece, so I'm just using the 2 different sides of the same piece to make this. So the first thing I'm going to do is just pop this on here. So it seems a shame to hide all this, doesn't it? But I do like the effect. I'd like to, oh, there it is. I'd like to find my glue. So Christmas preparations are well underway in our house. It will be here before we know it. Right, so just popping that. There we go. In the middle. And then I'm going to glue these 2 pieces together. As you see, that's the back. I mean, I suppose you could do it the other way and have the detail on the outer rim and the red on the inner one. And you know, once you've got these basic layouts, you can do anything you want with them, and they're a great way to use up your designer series paper, because we're all very fond of looking at it, but don't particularly want to have to cut it up, do we? Right, I think I'm going that way up. So this is just going on the middle here, and then we will do our sentiment. So in this set, there's 2 sentiments that go on this banner die. So the season's greeting, which I used on there, and then sending love and joy, which I'm putting on this card. So that just centers on the front of the card there. And then I'll just pop this on the inside. I'm not going to stick it now, actually, because I'm not doing inside. I'm going to root through my, what's the word? Stash to find, I'm just checking my paper straight it is, to find some sentiments for the inside. Although I think you probably could, because we're doing this, you could put Merry Christmas inside, or the Little Merry and the Big Christmas inside. So should we do that? Let's do that. While we're here, we might as well. So for this one, I think I'm going to ink up in the cherry cobbler, because we all know I love cherry cobbler. So I'll start with the front sentiment. There's nothing worse than picking up a pile of Christmas cards and realising you didn't go back and do the sentiments on the inside. Guess, don't ask me how I know. Done it more than once. You suddenly have to do the inside sentiments on like 40 cards. Is not fun. There we go. So that's our sentiment, the sending love and joy. And then I just need to get the stamps out to do the inside. Now, the big thing to remember, for someone who normally does portrait cards, when you're doing a what's the word? Landscape card, do remember which way you're going with your sentiment. So the number of times I've done it the wrong way because I'm used to doing cards this way, and now I'm happy to do this one this way. Right, so Christmas. There we go. So, and then just using the little Mary. Probably should use a smaller block. This is far too big, and I'm just putting it over the Christmas like that. How cute is that? I am loving this set. It's so flexible. It really is. Okay. So, pop that to one side. We'll glue this inside, and then I'll die cut the sentiment for the front. And as I was saying last month, because obviously we were doing Christmas cards last month as well, nice simple card to do lots of. I know some people, my friend Bridget, she does one card and then makes loads of it. I tend to do lots of different ones. Sometimes I'll do 4 the same and then move on to the next one. So I get a bit bored doing the same one over and over again. So let's get out the mini die cutting machine. Put it that way. And we've got our sentiment and our die. Now, there is a way to this. So, and it's not that way. Can you see it's not really lining up? But if I turn it round, it is. Doesn't look like there's a way, but there is. Okay, so let's just pop that on there and stick it on with a piece of tape. Sending love and joy. That's such a lovely sentiment this time of year. So we'll just shove that through there. Oh, just going to hang up the phone 1 second. Does that stop my video? No. On my old phone, that used to stop my video if somebody phoned. It's my daughter. She's actually with my other daughter, so I'm sure she's fine. They're out shopping. Probably asking for more money. Right, okay, and then we're just going to stick this on. Just going to push it out first. Yeah, unfortunately, normally you'd have little holes on the ends of the tabs there, but on this one you haven't. It does come out quite easily. Oh, she says. Normally. There we go, we're out that end. It's that little detail bit there that's just sticking. Got it. Yeah, there we are. And as you can see, there's actually a gap. So it's actually in 2 pieces, which is rather sweet. I don't know. I haven't actually played with it yet to see if you can sort of cut it up to make it into something else. So, and I am just going to stick that in the middle on the front there. And then we'll add some sequins. And then we're done. How lovely is that? It's just so nice. You could put that up on dimensionals if you want. Tend not to use loads of dimensionals on Christmas cards, largely because most of them are going to be posted. And in the UK, if the card goes beyond a certain thickness, you have to pay extra. Right, let's see. So we use these a lot. I'm going to use the little ones. And let's just get, and I think I'm going to go for the gold. So we did 2 little ones here when I was using the snowflakes, and then we're going to use a medium-sized one there rather than a bigger one. How cute is that? Right, so that's card number 1 for October, for November rather. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.